This week's episode is brought to you in part by Adobe Systems, the people who bring you Photoshop, Illustrator, and an entire line of software for web design and video. CDW, for hardware, software, gadgets, and more, CDW has the right technology right now. DLO, makers of the Home Dock Deluxe. Watch your favorite podcast on your TV with the Home Dock Deluxe from DLO. Azo, makers of high-end monitors for creative and moving image professionals. And iStock Photo, the world's preeminent collection of member-generated royalty-free images and digital art.
Hey!
Hi.
Hello and welcome
Hi.
to our No Frills episode.
Hi.
I'm Dave Cross. That's Matt.
Hi.
In case you're wondering about the set, this isn't it.
No.
So, this show is brought to you by these people. The people that make the National Association of Photoshop Professionals and this magazine. They're fine, fine people.
Nice people.
They are
also,
nice people.
The folks that bring you Layers Magazine, the Everything Magazine about Adobe stuff.
All Adobe stuff.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have you with us. It's also very nice to see Matt back with us after your travels.
It's good to be back. I got to go to a couple cool conferences, the Creative Suite License conferences from Adobe. So many thanks to Terry White and Karen and Jody and everybody for having me at those. So some pretty cool things.
Learned a few
got
things?
to sit in on a few classes. I did.
Excellent.
I learned a few things. Stole some tutorials that I will show on here.
Perfect. Can't be better than that.
Yes.
Now we're calling this our No Frills episode because you know what? We just want to get to it and show you stuff. But before we do that, I'm just lying because we're still going to mention.
It's not No Frills.
I know it's not No Frills, but it's important. Photoshop World is coming up, and the early bird registration date is also fast approaching.
Very important. You save $100.
It's August something, right?
August 3rd.
August 3rd. So
If you're going to go, at least sign up before then, just so you save $100.
then you can worry about all the other stuff, but at least you get yourself that. And if you're not a NAP member, you will get a NAP membership as part of your attendance as well. So I'm sure we'll be talking more about Photoshop World a little later before we go, because we're going to be giving away a pass to Photoshop World later on in our contest. So stay tuned for that.
Yes. Now, this blank look that you see on my face, it means I'm not ready to go.
I was kind of guessing that. But
Guess
I
who
better
gets
be
to go
ready
first?
because Matt's kind of looking, he's got nothing on his screen and he's looking at me with the same look of nothing. So, righty then.
I'm good at that look.
Well, I'm going to give you a little tutorial here, which is based on something that actually on the NAP member site, there's a fellow named Daryl Heath who's actually a NAP member, but he does tutorials and he often has some pretty cool insights, and this was one of them, and it was an interesting way to take advantage of the way that smart objects work in a way that you might not have thought of. So
Cool. Daryl's always got cool things.
He does have cool things, and this is one of them. And basically this is what it entails. I'm going to take this document and duplicate the background layer and turn that copy into a smart object. And the simplest way is to control-click on the Mac or right-click on Windows and convert to smart object. And of course we see that little symbol which indicates the fact that it is a smart object, which now means I can double click on it and it will open a separate document that is the smart object. And the way you can of course tell is it only has one layer because this is the smart object I'm now working on. And one of the things that you normally couldn't do before is change the mode. The mode basically is a document mode. So if you're in a document, it has to be in RGB mode or CMYK mode or something. But what this allows me to do is actually have more than one. So I'm going to change the mode, for example, to CMYK color. Now that's not going to look any different at first, but if I go into my channels palette, so I'm going to make this a little bigger so you can see it, and start playing around a little bit and deciding which channels I want to show, maybe I'll go for these ones right here, and I like the look of that, so I'm going to throw away the magenta channel, something I normally wouldn't do, but because this is a separate smart object document, I know I'm not affecting the original. So I'm going to close it and save it. And now I have in my main document this other layer, which of course now I could start playing around with different blend modes to take advantage of the way this layer is interacting. So that would be one possibility. Let's do the same thing. Duplicate and create a smart object. Double click. In this case, let's change the mode to index color. And in here, I had previously been playing this and found there was a pretty interesting option here, a custom palette. These are different color tables that are available. This one's called Black Body for some apparent reason.
I like that one.
It is kind of cool though, because look at this neat effect it has. Then you can play around with these options. This is the pattern option, and I'll click OK to that. And once again, close and save. Now back in my document. You know, I could leave it just like that, but again, this is the beauty of it, is you can start playing around with different blend modes and try different things and see what effect it has. And of course, you could add a layer mask into the equation and so on. So really lots of possibilities. Let's just do one more just to show you. how many different possibilities, always the same idea, convert to smart object, edit it. In this case, let's first change the mode to grayscale so that I can then change the mode to bitmap, which is a mode we don't use very often in Photoshop, but it does give us some interesting possibilities again when you combine it back with your original document and start doing that whole blend mode, layer mask kind of thing. And now I've got several of them all working in conjunction together, creating a pretty cool little effect.
Very cool.
Just the beginnings of an idea, but I think if you play with it more, you can find some interesting things. And thanks to Daryl for pointing this out, because I think it's a really cool idea how we kind of changing the rules of Photoshop, where you can now really have more than one mode in the same document, which I think is pretty darn cool.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl.
Now, seeing as I just watched you the whole time,
didn't do any preparation or anything.
I am no further to being ready for my tutorial. So,
excellent.
What do we have a break?
I think we should have a break.
Let's have a break then. We'll see you back in about 30 seconds. Bye.
Bob, it's gonna be a doozy. So were you able to get all your specialists on the line? Great. Hey guys. All right, I did everything you guys recommended, but I just want to go over things one last time. Okay, backup power. Check. Data, check. Connectivity? Yeah, check. All right, I'm good to go.
With trained specialists to solve your most complex IT needs.
Beautiful.
We're there. CDW.
Bob, yeah, we're gonna need to replace a few things.
Hey, we'd like to say a special hello and thanks to our newest sponsor, Audible.com. It's a great way if you're looking, I remember the good old days of getting books on tape and listening to them on long airplane flights. Now it's that much easier because you can put it on your iPod or MP3 player.
Very and everybody has a little iPod or something. But I think one of the things I think is cool about it is just the fact that you get it right away.
Right.
So you don't have to wait for it. You go online, you buy it, you order it, you download it, and you're ready.
I can't wait to look through there. Looks to me like there are lots of options there.
I heard Scott's book is on there. I'm interested to hear that one.
Interesting idea. So anyway, welcome to them, and we thank them for joining us on our team of sponsors.
Thanks.
Photoshop Storm Team Action News with news anchor Stephanie Cross.
Hi guys, Stephanie Cross again with the news for you today. First off, Adobe has posted a security...
Jason, I'm so sorry I'm late. Here, thank you so much. Adobe has posted a security update for Photoshop CS2 and CS3. According to Photoshop product manager John Knack, this update is recommended for all users. And next, Adobe has also announced a series of e-seminars on CS3 Creative Suite on topics such as print, video, web, and mobile publishing. These online seminars are available through August. Check it out at this link right here. And don't forget, guys, Brett Monroy will be teaching in various Canadian cities starting July 18th. There's still time to register, so check it out at photoshopseminars.com. I'm Stephanie Cross, and I'll see you back next week.
Hey, we're back. And guess what? No frills? What do you got?
No frills. I have and I said I was going to steal something from the Adobe conference.
All right.
I did. But I'm not stealing it from anybody that taught at the conference. They stopped by and showed something. No. I'm stealing something from one of the brochures that was at the conference. So I had a really cool little retro effect with all those little dots that you kind of look, little half-tone pattern dot thing that you see around.
A lot of people ask about that.
Let us take a look here. Now, the first thing that you'll want to do is try to have some type of a photo open. It just works better when you have a photo or something to use for this effect, whether it's a product shot or a photo, it doesn't matter. You can apply it just to a blank document, but it works better when you have a reason to do it. All right, so I want to select these people off of the background. I'm going to do it very quickly with the quick selection tool and just start to click on the background here. Just do one quick pass with it, see what happens. It does a good job. We'll hold down the Alt key or Option on the Mac and See if I can get in any of these areas. Don't want to lose any of her hair over here. And then let's see if we can get the rest of the background that we have over here on the right-hand side. If you haven't used the quick selection tool, by the way, it's a pretty cool little tool. So let's see if we can get that last little area there. All right, so now I have a quick selection around them. I'm going to press Command J. Hold on a second. Invert your selection. Go to Select Inverse. That selects just the people, and then press Command J. And now I have the people selected, and I'm going to go fill this background with white. Now let's go to the people layer again, and this is not the effect, it just kind of leads up to it. I'm just going to run a posterize adjustment on them, and I'm going to set the levels down to 3 and click OK. And you can see here that's before and that's after, so it just kind of runs a little effect on them. This effect is kind of in the context of what I saw this technique used in, so that's why I did that. Okay, so now let's go to the tutorial here. I'm going to grab my brush tool. I'm going to go to the brush picker and go to the hardness, drop that all the way down to 0 because I want a very soft brush here. I'm going to take my diameter up to 200, and I just want a large brush just to make these edges real soft. See what happens when I paint? See how it starts out black, but then it kind of gradiates and gets real soft into that gray. So that's what the effect that I want here. And I'm just going to paint along the edges of the couple here. All right, and just like that. Now I can hide the couple and just come inside here and just paint in any of the other areas. Now we're going to go up to the filter menu, and there's 2 ways you can do this. You can go to pixelate, go to color halftone, and click OK, and that gives you an interesting effect. It's kind of along the lines of what we're looking for here, but keep that one in mind. But I actually like this one better. I go to filter, I go down to sketch, and I'll go to halftone pattern. All right, and now I can get a preview, and this is kind of neat because you can change your size. So you can see you can make the dots larger or smaller. I think 2 works pretty good here. And then the contrast setting. The lower the contrast, the more the dots start to extend out into the photo, and the higher the contrast, the closer you bring those dots in. All right, I don't want them to go too far out, but I think 30, 31 works pretty good here, probably even 32 or 33. Let's leave it at 33 and click OK. And there you have the effect. Now let's turn the layer with the people on it. Now you can see it behind them. And then where you can take this a step further is let's bring in another photo. I've got this guitar photo here, so let's bring this into the image. And I want to put it below the background layer. And I can't do that because the background layer is locked. But here's a little tip for you. If I double click the background and then just hit OK, it changes it to a regular layer. So now I can take that and I can drag it above the guitar photo, go to my layer blend modes, maybe try multiply. That knocks out all the white. And then just hit Shift plus, and that cycles me through all the different blend modes. And you can see here you get some pretty interesting effects as you do that. I kind of like overlay. That's kind of neat. But as we go down through here, hard light looks kind of cool. Vivid light looks cool. Pin light doesn't. Difference looks bad. Exclusion looks even worse. And hue, saturation, color don't do much. Luminosity is kind of cool too. And then it starts over again as normal. So you can just go through here and experiment with the different blend modes to change how these little dots interact with the actual photo and with the photo that's underneath it. So a real easy way to apply kind of a classic effect that's being used a whole lot right now. So thank you very much, Adobe, for inspiring
the inspiration behind
for
that.
this
Very
tutorial.
cool. Yes. Excellent. Hey, well, what's some news for what's happening in Matt World? You've got a new online course that recently has gone up, right?
I did. While I was away, I actually brought my recording equipment with me. You laugh, but I did. And I have a brand new Camera Raw class. It's Camera Raw Basic workflow something or other, but if you want to go check it out, it's at photoshoptraining.com or Photoshop DVDs or photoshopvideos.com. So you can watch the online course or get it on DVD, but all about Camera Raw.
Right, so for those people that have been still debating, should I use Camera Raw, how do I use it? This is the basic
This is the way to get
boot
there.
camp, get you started, get
You
it going.
will
So
want to use it after this.
very cool, excellent.
Speaking of Camera Raw, don't we have a little tutorial from Deke?
I don't No, if it's on camera raw.
It's not. But
Okay.
it just seemed like a good segue.
Because now people are going to be like, but he's talking about something on his face or something. It's on camera raw. So, hey, let's see what Deke has to say this week, shall we?
Let's.
Okay.
Lots of folks out there wondering, how can I make lasers blast out of a guy's eyes? Lots of email on that topic. Not sure what that's about, but I got a technique for you. This is a fairly elaborate one, so I'm going to make it a two-parter. That's right, two parts in two, because it's two parts. Lasers blasting out of a guy's eyes. Part 1, warming up the goggles. They got to warm up before they can blast. Here, let me show you.
All right, gang, we're looking at an awesome image, one of the many awesome images from one of my favorite iStockPhoto.com contributors. I hate to play favorites, but this woman just rocks. Her name's Alexandra Alexis, and she's from Serbia. And every one of her images is just so evocative. It's amazing. I'm a big fan. And this dude is especially cool, right? He's wearing these wicked cool goggles. I wish I had those goggles on right now. It would make it fairly difficult to see what I'm doing, but I would look good. And he's holding this wrench, which I think's just great. It's not even an adjustable wrench, and yet this guy's captivated by it. The only thing I don't like about this dude, the only thing I don't approve of is this part right there. And you've probably heard this before, but maybe not. Smoking's not good for you. So just want to pass that along. And what I especially don't want you to do, I don't want you to look at this image and go, God, this guy's so rockin'. So, I wish I was just like him. I'm going to go out and get myself some goggles and carry around a wrench and start smoking. That's all okay except for the smoking part. All right. Get your goggles, get your wrench. Don't get your cigarettes. All right. And if you're already smoking, come on, stop. All right. That's my advice to you. In this particular exercise here, we're going to go ahead and select the goggles, which is pretty darn easy to do, and we're going to make them glow, which is also, as it turns out, pretty darn easy to do. It's next time when we add the laser blast. That's when things really take off. But this time, it's just kind of a throwaway, just a little bit of a warm-up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab this new selection tool inside of Photoshop CS3, which is a quick selection tool. All right, and I'm gonna grab it, and it allows you to paint selections. You've probably seen it before, but if not, here it goes. I'm gonna paint in a selection for this goggle. Just automatically selects the entire goggle, and then I'll paint in here, and it selects that goggle. It's that easy. And at this point, if you've never seen this tool, you're probably going, "Holy moly, that is cool." That is going to automatically select everything I've ever wanted to select inside Photoshop. Well, another disclaimer, it's not that good. It's an okay tool. It's another pretty good automated selection tool inside of Photoshop. But just to give you a sense of how okie dokie it is, I'm going to go over here to the Magic Wand tool, which has been around with us since 1990, so it's old school, right? And here's my default settings: tolerance 32, anti-alias on, contiguous on, just the standard stuff. I'll press Control-D or Command-D on the Mac in order to deselect those goggles. And check this out. Click, Shift-click, goggles selected. So see, these goggles just aren't that hard to select, is what it comes down to. All right, so assuming you got yourself a goggly image like this one, go ahead and select those goggly eyes. And then I'm going to jump them to a new layer. And you may know Control-J or Command-J on the Mac jumps the selection to a new layer. If you want to name it as you jump it, what do? You add Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to press Control-Alt-J or Command-Option-J on the Mac, and that will invoke this new layer dialog box right here. I'm going to go ahead and call this layer Glowing Eyes, don't you know? And I might add an apostrophe there to acknowledge the missing G, and then I'll click OK in order to create that new layer. Now you can tell there's my little goggle eyes waiting for my next instruction. And in order to make them glow, we're going to add a layer effect. I'm going to go down here to this FX icon. Also new to Photoshop CS3, the icon is. The functionality is terribly old, actually. And I'm going to choose Inner Glow in order to bring up the big old layer style dialog box. And let's go ahead and increase the size of this inner glow to 70 pixels, let's say. That's looking pretty good. The colors for the birds, though, let's go ahead and change out that color. Actually, let's increase the opacity to 100%. And let's switch that sort of weak yellow color by clicking on that swatch. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the saturation by dragging this circle all the way up into the upper right corner of this big color field here, and assuming that the hue, H, is selected, of course. And then I'm going to go ahead and change that hue value to 30 degrees, and I might take that saturation value down a little bit to 75%. So I got a hue of 30 degrees, which is orange. I got a saturation of 75%, which is a lot, and I got a brightness of 100%, which is very bright, of course. Then I'll click OK. And now the only other thing is right now I've got these glowing edges. I really want the centers to be glowing and the edges to be dark. So I go down here to Source, check it out, see center and edge. I'll click on center, and you can see what that does, gives them a nice glowing center. Now, if you want to go for a different kind of effect, this is what I want, right? What we have here. But if you want something that's not so much glowing, but it's more of sort of an X-ray specs effect, you would go down here to Contour and change it from a linear contour, which is what I have selected right now, to something like ring. Check that out. Or, something like ring double. And then he could be like, looking through people's clothes or something like that. But he's just looking at a wrench. I don't see any reason he should have some X-ray specs on. That seems sort of like a waste of time. X-raying your wrench, what's that about? So I'll go ahead and change that back to linear. We've got a nice linear glow. That's good. Click OK in order to accept that effect. And we're done for now. That's all we're going to do this time around. Just give him some nice glowing goggles. Next time, when we revisit this image, we're going to create some laser blasts. Naturally, I hope you join me then.
The tension builds. What do you think, sirs?
I always wanted to know how the laser beam.
I can't wait to see the finish of that because, gosh, I get asked that question almost
as much as does Deke drink.
We're not going to go into details about what we think behind that, but yeah. So, we are moments away from giving away some pretty darn cool prizes, one of which is a pass to Photoshop World.
Sweet.
So, before we do that, let us spend a moment reminding you a couple things, just so you're aware. We also already mentioned the early bird registration date, but one of the things that is very popular at Photoshop World is pre-cons. Some of them are already sold out.
Some of them are, but
there are some that are not.
There's two that are not sold out yet. One of them happens to be mine, which is Layers for Beginners. So I'd love to have you in there. It's limited to a smaller group of people, so great little class. So it's all about Layers for Beginners, starting from the ground up. And Mr. Cross, you have one?
I do have one as well. It's actually Illustrator for Photoshop users, so people who use Photoshop and want to learn how to use Illustrator. And I don't know if we've actually mentioned this, these pre-cons are like a 4.5-hour session, so it's not just a quick little class. You actually spend half the day really getting into some detail and getting a pretty nice workbook of information as well. So
sign up for both and just come between Dave and my class.
We'll try. We'll make the rooms right beside each other.
Yeah.
So we have no control over that. But
I will say though, so sometimes we give out airfare. You know what? You're going to get to Vegas. It's really easy and it's usually pretty cheap because they want to get you there. The other thing I'll show you. Hotels. Luxor you can get for $110. You can get the Flamingo, which is down the road a little bit, for $125. For the budget conscious, there's Circus at $37.
I was going to say, am I saying 37?
That is indeed, as of today. That's $37. And then for the not budget conscious, there is the Win for $4.99 a night.
So if you're going on the company payroll and you got unlimited money, go for it. And invite us over, because we've always wanted to stay at the Win, but we don't. So, all right, with all that in mind, first of all, let's cover off last week's contest. We showed you a dialog box and said, name this dialog box. Several people named it Jim and a couple of Anitas, but that was not the correct answer. It was the pinch filter. So when we say name it, we don't mean give it a name. We mean what is the actual name. So from the many people that entered and got the correct answer, this person right here was the winner.
Good job.
To this person. Now, we have some prizes for the lucky recipient of this week's contest.
I will start it off with an Expo disc. I have one, Dave has one. We both like them a lot. Scott has one, he likes it a lot. We'll probably give one to Corey too. But we all like the Expo disc. It's basically a professional white balance tool. So instead of relying on the computer after the fact, you can get a lot of it.
If you're a longtime viewer of the show, you've seen us demonstrate this before, because it's a real favorite of ours. So you'll win that, and you'll also win a subscription to Layers magazine, the All Things Adobe, and the aforementioned Photoshop World Pass. I always wanted to say the word aforementioned because I never thought of a reason to use it
Good way to work it in.
So because of the fabulous nature of these prizes, this is going to be a little harder question than you might have seen before. So what you need to tell us is, where on earth in Photoshop would you see a menu called urgency? Good luck to you.
You
I
know
will
what?
say.
Menu, I don't just find the word urgency.
Yeah, where do you see urgency? Write it down, send it in, and you can win these fabulous prizes. And good luck to you. I hope you win.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind,
I think we're at that point where do we have 3 things to do?
We usually have some things to do.
I have 2 if you have 1.
Well,
we don't even have to stop and try to find them.
Thank goodness, because I don't think that I
had to.
We're desperately searching through our list of...
So I'll start it off with the first one. Well, Dave desperately searches around. And I'll send you off to, these are some folks I met over in Europe last month when I was over there. PHOTOSHOPTV.eu. Okay, so it's kind of the European Photoshop TV, but a little bit different. Some very nice folks that run that site. So if you're over in Europe, you can check it out, PHOTOSHOPTV.eu.
Excellent. Well, I have a site that I probably mentioned many, many episodes ago, but it's one of the ones on my list of blogs that I check in on only because it just has cool stuff. It's design, it's advertising, it's just things that are cool. And it's actually called thecoolhunter.net, and it's a kind of a bloggy thing, but they have different sections on news and design and just cool advertising stuff. So if you're looking for inspiration to see what's trendy, check this one out.
Cool. And my last one here, like how I just found it. My last one here is actually from a gentleman that I know. His name's Tony Hopman. He owns a studio that's actually nearby here, and Tony has just about every degree in photography that you can find. He is a master of the trade, and he's got a very cool tutorial. It's at Professional Photographer, and the link is kind of long, so what I'm going to do is I'll put the link on PhotoshopTV.com, so you can go there. But it is how to fix optical distortion from eyeglasses. And he showed it to me, and after he showed it to me, every time I look in the mirror, because I do wear glasses and contacts at times, I notice my optical distortion from my eyeglasses. So go check that out. It's a very, very cool tutorial from Tony.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, we like to wrap up the show, but before we do that, we like to give one for the road. And I'm just going to totally make something up because we didn't plan this at all in our normal manner. And it's because it's no frills. We didn't even talk about who's going to do it, so I think I will. You've seen us probably mention this before, or many, many moons ago. I remember someone showing this in our very early days of Photoshop TV, but it's something that every time I show, people kind of forget about, and that is when you want to add either a copyright notice or your company name or something to your photo, a very easy way to do that is to define a brush. So all you do is you take your text tool, type whatever you want, and then under the edit menu, define brush preset, and then anytime you need it, you just have a one-click little brush to add whatever it is you want onto your document. Very simple, very easy.
Very one for the roadish.
Very one for the roadish. So thank you for sticking with us, and we thank our sponsors for their assistance. And
thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate your returning and helping us out. And we shall see you next time. Come on back, won't you? All right. Bye now. Bye.
I don't like this hairlight. It's making me sweaty. Oh, no! Don't dare use that. Jason, I will kill you.